He ends up going to Poland. The Polish Pope ends up going to Poland under communist rule, and on Pentecost, no less, on the day of Pentecost, and gives one of the most prolific speeches in the face of all of these people staring at him, where God has been suppressed and pushed down, and they're not even allowed to worship. And he talks about why we need to have nations. Actually, he talks about that nations were in the upper room. And it's a fascinating...
And you're right. He talked about the tongues of every nation were represented, filled with the Spirit, calling out to God in their own native tongue from their country. And he tied it into Pentecost as he preached.
And what was the response from the people?
The people spontaneously, 1 million people, one of the largest gatherings, probably the largest evangelistic gathering in history as far as I know. They cried out, "We want God." This is after since 1940s, the suppression of religion, the persecution of faith. We want God. And they cried out over and over and over again. And you could see them closing the blinds at the KGB. They were watching. They were dropping they were looking out at this thing from their government windows and realizing, oh man, the hunger of the people for God is what brought the Berlin Wall down and liberated those nations. Now we come back. What pope will be raised up? We should be praying for this because we're in the era of awakening. And some people would even say that they assassinate popes in the Vatican if they become dangerous. There's stories of that, but I can't say one way or the other. But it is a political organization as well as an empire. But it also has the vestiges of true Christianity. Peel it back to 2000. Remember, Derek Prince taught me this. He said, rather than being anti-Catholic, for you're a Protestant, remember they were the ones that actually protected the scripture, that kept the original documents, that guarded the purity of the history of the first, 500 years of Christianity, 1,000 years of Christianity, so that you have what you have today. Hey there, you just listened to an excerpt. That's a little bit of the podcast. So if you want to get the whole thing, because there's a lot more content there, go to lancewallnut.com/podcast. And instead of getting an excerpt, you get the entire message.